All right, welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on SoFlo TV. This video right here is about a young lady by the name of Donna Lee Donaldson. Donna Lee Donaldson went missing in 2022. However, in 2025, as we speak, the person who is charged with her being missing is about to start trial. This story is as salacious as it gets. This story has all the bells and whistles like a well thought out, well written Netflix series or episode, whichever way you take it. So you have a police officer who is also a record producer. So he is in the music industry, but he doubles as a active duty police officer. And you have a young 24-year-old social media sensation, local media sensation, beautiful female who was in a relationship with this older, more experienced, more powerful man who is a police officer. And something happened, and that young lady went missing and has not been seen since or heard from since. This video today will not only take you through the ups and downs of how it all unfolded, but the video will also give you the latest update as of April 2025 pertaining to this case. So let's start out with how this went. There she was, young, vivacious, beautiful, intelligent, articulate, well-spoken, very poised, super ambitious, and she was making her way through the world. We're talking about Donna Lee Donaldson. And there was that day that Donna Lee Donaldson left her home that she shared with her mother, and she said, "Mom, just keep an eye on my dog for me," because she had a little dog. "Keep an eye on my dog for me, and I'll be back soon." And she told her mom where she was going, like she often does. As it was recorded and said, and her mom has accounted for, her mom said that she got a phone call or a text saying that Noel wants to come and pick her up. Noel is the police officer boyfriend. So her man wants to come pick her up. She's going to her man's house. However, she had plans to return home. She told her mom, "Don't worry about the dog. She'll walk the dog when she gets home." She had every intention of returning home. But trouble was brewing, and poor Donna Lee could not read the room. Noel came to pick her up from her house in his black BMW that everybody knows he drives. Her mom saw the black BMW and saw her daughter leave in the black BMW. Her mom said she had a feeling. She had a feeling like she wanted to stop her from leaving. She wanted to tell her not to go, but she just didn't. And she didn't because although they shared space, she was a young woman now. She was no longer a teenage girl where mama could say, "Go sit your ass down. You're not going out with any man. Find something to do. Stay at home." She was 24 years old, and she was making her own way in the world. It's customary in Caribbean culture that you're 24 years old, 34 years old, 45 years old, 60, 50 years old to be living with your parents. Caribbean culture is pretty different from, if I should draw in comparison, I would say American culture in the United States of America, where most people look to be on their own once they hit 18 years old, since 18 signifies you being an adult. In Jamaica, it's very different. it is customary to find young people, especially those 30 and below, still sharing a house with their parents or one parent or the other. So there she was on that fateful day. And she left in that black BMW with her boyfriend, and she was never seen again. I want to break down for you the steps to this. First of all, we'll start out with the prosecutors outlined a DNA/video evidence in the Nowell Maitland murder case. Now, for those who are going to doubt what I'm saying, this is information that was given by law enforcement officials in Jamaica, and this information was printed in the Jamaica Observer October 4th of 2022. A lot of people have argued with me over the space of time that we went to bat for Vybz Kartel. But we are pretending like Vybz Kartel's case is not just the same as this one. Because in the iconic dancehall reggae music icon's murder case, where he was accused of killing Clive Lizard Williams, no body was found. Yet he was convicted of murder and he was sentenced to 38 years in prison before he was eligible for parole, which was later reduced to 35 years in prison before he would be eligible for parole, although Vybz Kartel 13 years later has secured his freedom, all while fighting to the highest courts, all while maintaining his innocence that he did not do what he was accused of doing. No body was found, though. Just like in this case, nobody was found. But the difference between the Donaldson Nowell Maitland case and the Vybz Kartel case is, in Vybz Kartel's case, no evidence was found as well. Purely circumstantial and accusational. In the Nowell Maitland's case concerning Donaldson, there has been a ton of evidence that points directly to the police officer, Constable Nowell Maitland. Kingston, Jamaica. The prosecution in the murder case against Constable Nowell Maitland said that DNA evidence, along with CCTV footage, provided strong circumstantial evidence that his missing 24-year-old girlfriend, Donna Donaldson, is dead. Now, after she was reported missing, the country went into a frenzy because she was not only just a Jamaican citizen, she was also very popular in local media, and she was also very popular on social media. So you had a lot of people who came out to stand with her family, bearing placards, trying to force the hand of law enforcement to search harder, to work more diligently, to treat this as an emergency, to find her and bring her home. It was intense. According to law enforcement, DNA evidence, along with CCTV footage, provides strong circumstantial evidence that his missing 24-year-old girlfriend, Donna Donaldson, is dead. Back in 2022, this was printed. It said that Nowell Maitland, the police officer, who was also charged with preventing the lawful burial of a corpse, arrived for bail hearing at the Supreme Court in Kingston at 10:23 a.m. in a neatly tailored dark blue suit and what appeared to be freshly trimmed hair. Well groomed and well dressed. However, a bail application that was made by Maitland's attorney, Christopher Townsend, was strongly opposed by the prosecution. I hasten to add that the absence of her body does not prevent the prosecution from, based on the circumstances and the evidence, from asserting that Miss Donnelly Donaldson is dead, is what the prosecutor told Judge Vinette Graham Allen as she outlined the Crown's reason for opposing the application for bail for Nowell Maitland. Do not let him go. This is a dangerous man. We have to keep him locked up until his day of trial. Now, a lot of people were angry at this time because corruption runs deep. And not only that, there is a level of camaraderie among law enforcement officials that civilians might never understand. Same way there is a level of camaraderie among military personnel that civilians who never served might never understand. So although he was looking guilty, it was said to the public that even though he was held in jail, he was still getting all the things he needed, because the police officers who were in charge of housing him, keeping him locked up, they were actually treating him very, very well, letting him out of his cell to roam about the facility, especially at nights, bringing him his favorite foods, making sure he had everything he needed to be as comfortable as possible. They were pretty sure he was going to, at some point, get bail. The prosecutor told the judge that DNA evidence from brown drops and stains from curtains at Nowell Maitland's apartment, which resembled blood, matched that of Donnelly Donaldson, toothbrush handed over by her mother, Sophia Lugg. So they had taken samples of what they believed to be blood that they found in different parts of his apartment where Donnelly had gone before she went missing. And they took those to the lab and they were tested against something else that had her DNA on it that she last used before she left home, her toothbrush, and they got a match. So it was safe to say that the blood splatters that were found in his apartment, on the edge of the curtain, on a pair of shoes in another room, they belonged to Donnelly Donaldson. Now, mind you, her mother can vouch that Donnelly was in perfect health and she had no cuts, scratches, bruises, anything that would cause her to be bleeding when she saw her leave her apartment and leave in that black BMW with Nowell Maitland. So to find blood that belonged to her in his apartment, the last place she is known to be, says a lot. Another observation is that the CCTV cameras at the neighbor's house, all 5 cameras, and those cameras at the gate of the apartment complex that he lives in, while all those cameras shows the police officer Nowell Maitland and the missing woman Donnelly Donaldson arriving at the complex and going into his apartment, no recording from any of these multiple cameras shows any footage of her ever leaving that apartment or that apartment complex. Now you got to understand what happened in between that. He also made attempts to get the CCTV footage from his neighbor because he knew his neighbor had a camera, and he fabricated a story to say that I'm a police officer and I was smoking some weed, and I don't want a video footage of me circulating around with me smoking weed, and then my superiors might see it, and then I would be in trouble on the job. By this time, the story about Donna Lee going missing had caught on like wildfire, and it caught the ears and eyes of the neighbors who owned those cameras. So the neighbor said when he came with that story, it made him even more suspicious. So he decided, I'm not going to give that footage to him, and I'm not going to destroy it. I am going to turn it over to the police. Now, that's a risky move in a place like Jamaica, because that CCTV footage being turned over to the police could have easily been destroyed by police officers who were looking out for Noel Maitland, being that he is another police officer. Let's not forget the key detail here about the couch. After Donna Lee went missing, Noel was seen removing a couch from his apartment, a rather large couch. Back then, we made a guess, speculation, that she was seen entering on multiple videos, footage, and she was never seen coming out on those same video footages because she did not walk out of there like how she walked in. She was removed from that apartment inside of the couch. It is our belief that she was dismembered in order to fit in the couch. And what supports that belief is that it is recorded also that the couch in question that he removed within a day or two after her, or days after her being missing from his apartment, a day after, he took the couch to a car wash. Who takes a couch to a car wash? And then the pieces were being stitched together because the attendant at the car wash actually testified to investigating detectives that yes, he brought the couch here, and while I was washing the couch, blood was just pouring out of that couch like crazy. It is recorded that the car wash attendee also asked Noel Maitland, the police officer, the boyfriend, what happened to this couch? How come so much blood is coming out of it? And his answer was that they were doing some work around the house and his cousin had cut his hand and had bled into the couch. And the attendee's reply, recorded by police and published, said, well, he must have died because this is a lot of blood. He must have bled out. He must have bled to death. This probability backs up our synopsis or our guess that she was dismembered, placed in that couch, and taken out of that apartment in order to hide from those cameras that he knew were in his apartment complex. The court was also told that bloodstains were on the couch that was taken in a truck by Noel Maitland and two other men to a car wash. We don't know who those two other men are. CCTV footage reportedly also showed that he carried the couch to downtown Kingston, where it was disposed of, and it was never seen again. A big couch disposed of in busy downtown Kingston and was never seen again. Following a submission by the defense, which denied the allegations because, of course, this is their client and they're trying to get him off. So the defense is saying, our client did not kill his girlfriend. The judge adjourned, and at that point, it was adjourned until October 13th for ruling on the bail application. The police report that on July 11th, about 10 p.m., 2022, Donaldson was picked up at her house by Noel Maitland in his black BMW motor car to spend the night with him at his apartment located in a place called Chelsea Manor. She obviously had no plans to spend the night because she told her mom she would be back to walk her dog. She has not been seen or heard from since July 11th of 2022, about 10 p.m. Noel Maitland was arrested and charged July 27th and has been in custody ever since. Now, there's another article that says we need the body because he is obviously not participating. He is not working with investigators, law enforcement. He is maintaining his innocence that he has nothing to do with Donnelly's disappearance. Now, here's the thing. If the DNA blood evidence is not enough, if the video evidence of her walking in and never coming out is not enough, if the testimony of the individual attendee at the car wash about the amount of blood coming out of that couch was not enough, digital forensics says when Donaldson's cell phone went off grid, stopped communicating with towers, disappeared, his cell phone was active and was right there at the same location. I wanted to cover all the evidence pieces before we went on to anything else and to the update. This family has been hurting. This family, and rightfully so, this family has been seeking justice. And we hope that justice will be served. Now, the family of Donna Lee Donaldson, the 24-year-old social media influencer who investigators believe has been murdered by her police boyfriend, Constable Noel Maitland, that family is pleading with the accused, Noel Maitland, to please, Noel, please, at least disclose to us where her body has been disposed of. We just want closure, man. We just want to bury her, man. Her auntie, Anne-Marie Lugg, said in an interview with the Jamaica Gleaner a short while after the police announced that Noel Maitland was charged with murder. Well, that was 2022. We're in 2025 and they still don't know where not even a finger of hers is. Donna Lee Donaldson was last seen in the company of Noel Maitland. Let's not forget, Noel also told the police officers that they had an argument. After she came to his apartment, after he went to pick her up, they had an argument. And then the police asked him, so y'all had an argument, and then what happened next? And he said, she left. She stormed out of the apartment and she left. She walked away on her own, and somebody else might have picked her up down the road. As if to say she had a friend come pick her up or she had another man come pick her up. But here's the funny thing. All those video cameras that are trained in that apartment complex and the ones that are trained towards his apartment door, none of them saw anything that matched that. This is when they knew something was up. We are weak. It's indescribable how we are feeling. We need the body so that we can get a proper burial. Give us the bones. Give us anything just to know that it's Donna Lee and that we can put her to rest, know where she is, and go visit her gravesite. Her auntie pleaded. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey said that the police had not yet recovered a body, but indicated that the case was upgraded from a missing persons case at this point to a homicide case because of the forensic evidence that they had found. So, it's funny to see them in 2025 saying there is only circumstantial evidence when you clearly hear the Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey describe the evidence they found that made it so that they upgraded the missing persons to a homicide case. He described that evidence as forensic evidence, not circumstantial evidence, forensic evidence. All this will tie in at the end of this video when we start to update you on what's happening in this case in 2025. His formal charges came after 20 days of diligent and comprehensive investigations by detectives in what began as a missing person investigation, which, given the evidence that was being collected, subsequently became a murder probe, said Bailey. He said that investigators have concluded that Donna Lee Donaldson was killed on July 12th between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. There is also more evidence because she was actually on a phone call or FaceTiming with her father who lived overseas, and he had sent his daughter some money. And she had not picked up her money, so he called to find out what was going on and why she had not picked up her money. The time in which she called, she got on the FaceTime call with her father from overseas. That is timestamped. That phone call seals the deal that she was still alive and in Noel Maitland's apartment. He had not killed her yet. So the time that he told the police that she was not there, she was long gone because they had an argument, that phone call proves he's lying again because she was there. She answered the phone. And her loved ones on the other end of the phone, because she had had conversations with them before in similar manner, FaceTime from that location, they recognized the background of where she was at. The deputy commissioner said that this was supported by forensic evidence and technology. But he also noted that a motive had not yet been established for the killing. All they wanted to know is why. Why did you do it? But the police officer maintains his innocence. Deputy Commissioner Bailey said that there was an extensive search of the Riverton City dump area in St. Andrew because it was believed that her body might have been dumped in that landfill. But investigators came up empty-handed. Noel Maitland's apartment was also processed by crime scene investigators on July 15th. Mind you, she was last seen by her mom leaving her mother's house on July 11th. It's 2022. Detectives theorized that she was murdered on July 12th. She was last seen leaving her mom's after 10 p.m. So sometime early morning of the 12th, she was murdered. He was not placed in custody until the 27th or something, but July 15th, they went to go process his apartment 2 days after the young woman was reported missing. The constable has been in custody since his arrest on July 27th in relation to her disappearance. Now, here's another thing where a lot of people are saying corruption runs deep in Jamaica because initially it was said by her mom, who vouched to the police, who did put in also the missing person report because her daughter said I would be back to walk my dog and her daughter never came back because she was calling her daughter's phone and her daughter was not answering because her and her daughter were super close. They lived together, they shared space, and they talked about everything. So it was unlikely for her to not answer her phone when her mother was calling repeatedly. Her mother knew in the pit of her stomach something was wrong. It took law enforcement 2 days 2 days to get a team over to his apartment. That should have been the first place they looked, and that should have been done since day one. They said that they would continue to get the leads and that they couldn't come to a decision on whether or not her body will be found. Well, it's 2025. Her body still was never found. They were hoping that there would be that end game, that her body is found, so that the family could actually bring to closure this unfortunate situation, said the deputy commissioner, Fitz Bailey. Fitz Bailey also said at the time that investigators believe that the police officer, Noel Maitland, received some assistance in disposing of Donna Donaldson's body after she was killed. Now, GPS tracking, when they're tracking the phones, it was reported that his vehicle was in the area or around and stopped by a crematory, a funeral home that offers cremation services. The funeral home in question had a representative do a video that was released to the public that denied them even offering cremation services. We bury bodies, we embalm bodies, we do everything else. We don't even offer cremation services. So why are y'all mixing us up in this? Well, that was too easy. So we went to look at their business website, and lo and behold, they had not scrubbed the website yet. It said it on the website that they do offer cremation services. And then there were people who had lost loved ones and had them cremated who also came forward and said, our loved one was cremated at that same business. So yes, they do offer cremation services. Now, we don't know why, but it was also said that Noah Maitland, the police officer, boyfriend, the suspect, was also friends or distant relatives to some individual who worked at or owned that funeral home that offers cremation services. That was neither here nor there, but something to look at. Her auntie said that the family has not been able to discuss the details that have developed with her. Her sister said they're having a hard time dealing with it. Her mother is quickly developing health issues, respiratory issues, and her health was declining swiftly under stress and duress from losing her baby girl. We don't want to upset her and cause her health to go down. We're giving her time to rest her nerves. We're all just trying to cope, said her sister. But she noted that her sister was aware that charges have been laid. And we're talking about her auntie and her mother. So that would be her mother's sister. Now, meanwhile, Noah Maitland's attorney, Christopher Townsend, had told the Jamaica Gleaner that the murder charge was expected. I expected them to charge my client, he said. He then said these words. He said it was within our contemplation that he might have been charged, and he was. They conducted a question and answer, albeit they questioned him about things that were not even connected with the offense that he is now being charged with. The attorney also said that the police attempted to go around them by indicating that legal aid would sit with the client, Noel Maitland, for a second questioning and answer session, but the attorney objected. He don't need no legal aid to sit with him. I'm his attorney. I'm the one that should be there. They know, he said, that he had counsel, which for me certainly signals how fair they plan to be. They wanted to hold an identification parade when they know that his picture was all over the place in terms of the press, which is also an indication of how unfair they are likely to be, said his attorney. The attorney said that he is now waiting for the full disclosure of evidence against his client, noting that the practice by the police of withholding information until the court proceedings started should not be allowed to continue. They need the paperwork, they need the evidence, they need whatever is found by the police so that they can properly prepare a defense, which is understood. However, it's funny when the boot's on the other foot. A very popular music producer by the name of Don. Don has been incarcerated for some time now, awaiting trial, and they use the same method of a ID parade lineup with Don. Notice how Christopher Townsend said he doesn't think an ID parade is fair to his client, Noel Maitland, because his picture has already circulated all over the place. A lot of people knows what he looks like now through media, etc. Well, it was the same that happened to the producer, Don. Don had been unveiled, unmasked. Everybody knew what he looked like. And then an ID parade was done in his case, and he was picked out and has been incarcerated since. So I say, it's funny how certain things are expected to not happen or to happen to benefit some people, but not others. If you're a popular face or a popular person, an ID parade can hurt you Because people have seen your face so many times, they might see 7 unfamiliar faces lined up next to your familiar face, and they might simply pick your familiar face because your familiar face is familiar. Right. But with that said, we're leading up to what is taking place in 2025 as of April. So they have started asking for permission to have people submit evidence from or testify from overseas, which tells me that either someone is afraid, they don't want to come to Jamaica to testify because they're scared they might be harmed, or they don't have legal papers to travel, or whatever the case may be. So as of April of 2025, the murder trial of Noel Maitland, the same police boyfriend, it's been delayed to allow the prosecution to make an application for special measures in the case to allow witnesses to testify from overseas. These would be witnesses that would back the prosecution, not back Noel Maitland. And that was the latest finding as of April 27th of 2025. Today, we are putting this video together is May 1st of 2025. And if anything changes, we will be updating you as time goes by, just giving you a timeline so you understand what's taking place in this case. So Noel Maitland's trial, it was scheduled to begin in the Supreme Court on the 27th of April 2025. But instead, the application for special measures came up. So everything was put on hold, and a few days have been given for things to be put in place. He's charged with the 2022 murder of his girlfriend, social media influencer Donna Donaldson. He is also charged with preventing the lawful burial of a corpse because they believe that he knows where the body is, but he just won't say so. Therefore, he is preventing a proper burial. Now, when the matter was called up in the Supreme Court on the 27th of March, or April, on the 27th of April 2025, when the matter was called up in the Supreme Court, Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Claudette Thompson informed the presiding judge, Justice Leighton Pusey, that the documents concerning the application for special measures were served only last week. Thompson indicated also that the Crown prefers to have the application heard before the trial begins. Can we make it possible so that these individuals can bear witness from overseas? The special measures request relates to witnesses that are based overseas whose testimonies the Crown intends to rely on to make their case. Thompson noted that if the application is unsuccessful, it could probably affect the trial's start date. We are saying at SoFlo TV that even if that application is unsuccessful and those overseas are not able to testify, this case is one that is open and shut. In other words, everything is there already lined up for a conviction. I guess they're just trying to add a couple of extra nails to the coffin, so to speak. She emphasized that the evidence against Constable Noel Maitland is entirely circumstantial and that each witness testimony is interlinked. Now, That worries me, because why would she say that all the evidence they have is entirely circumstantial? It was already established by high-ranking authority that the evidence they have, DNA evidence, digital evidence, video CCTV evidence, that's not circumstantial or entirely circumstantial as this prosecutor has said. That is strong, solid evidence. One of the biggest worry is that the prosecution themselves will throw away this case on purpose. Now, again, you must look at the level of corruption that exists in Jamaica. Maybe a prosecution can be paid, or a prosecutor can be paid to improperly try a case in order to affect the outcome, change the verdict in favor of. Now, in response to Noah Maitland's attorney, Christopher Townsend, asked for time to review the documents, noting that his intention to challenge the application. So, of course, I understand him, because his job is to defend his client, even though I think his client is guilty. But it's not what you think in a court of law, it's what can be proven. Now, meanwhile, Justice Pusey, the overseeing judge, issued a stern warning to members of the media and the public, and people like me who are doing this video, these types of videos pertaining to this case. The judge started cautioning against actions that could influence the jury, such as protests or even public commentary. The judge said, "This is more than a word to the wise. This is an indication of the law. Persons engaging in such activities can be brought before the courts. If that happens, then this trial may have to be stopped and restarted." If you remember the Vibes Cartel case, after going all the way to Privy Council and coming all the way back to Jamaica for a final decision, it all started to be overturned once it was realized by the law lords of the highest courts of Jamaica, which is located in the UK at the Privy Council, that something happened. Jury tampering happened in Vibes Cartel's case, and by law, you should not go any further after that has happened. I wouldn't say jury tampering, I would say more like the jury pool was tainted. And although they were aware of it, defense and prosecution, the defense said in Vibes Cartel's case, well, the right thing for us to do is to start over, because I am not for moving forward. The prosecution and the judge overseeing that case colluded and said, well, we're just going to move forward. A big mistake. A big mistake. That resulted in Vibes Cartel and the rest of his guys, Sean Storm and Madsus, their murder conviction being vacated, thrown out. The word used was their conviction was quashed, meaning it had no legs to stand on. It should have never happened in the first place, which led them to a place where they walked out with a clean slate, as if they had never been tried for a murder case before. So, I think in this case, the judge is warning everybody because he doesn't want people to be influenced, especially jury members, and he doesn't want to risk having to run a 6, 7, 8 weeks trial only to have to start all over again. Justice Leighton Pusey highlighted previous instances where protests occurred near the courthouse and made it clear that similar behavior would not be tolerated. Donaldson was reported missing on July 13th of 2022. Although her body was never found, police investigators concluded that she was killed on July 12th, 2022. She was last seen at her police boyfriend Noel Maitland's apartment. Noel Maitland has been in custody since July 27th of 2022. He maintains his innocence to this very day, and this trial is said expected to last approximately 8 weeks or so. Now that we've got everybody on the page and all the people who were screaming justice for Donna Lee, and I told you in 2022 that this would be one of those things where it would be stretched out for a long time, and it has been. But that's the judicial system. You have to wait your day in court. There are other cases that happened before that need to be tried as well. So now is the time, the date that was set, the case is in court, it's about to be tried. Let's hope that true justice is served. I want you to leave your comments all over this comment section. Judging from what you have heard about the evidence that was found, the evidence that was verified by Commissioner Bailey, the 5 video cameras, CCTV footage, the DNA evidence, do you think that Noel Maitland is guilty or not? Again, I pray that justice is served. I'm even hoping that the family gets to find out where her body is so that they can actually give her a proper burial. Even a part of her, for closure. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next video. It's SoFlo TV. I'm out. Peace.